Elon Musk, in order to save his hide in a Philadelphia courtroom, had to admit that he's been cooking the books and lying to the American people about his randomized lottery $1 million giveaway, which was nothing of the sort. They picked people on purpose, gave him the $1 million for publicity, had nothing to do with a lottery. It was a big fat lie. And Elon Musk had to tell that judge today in order to avoid him shutting down the lottery with a day to go to the election. You're here on the Legal AF YouTube channel. Welcome. It's a brand new channel and it needs your help. Take a moment. Early vote, hit the blue subscribe button. I'm Michael Popok at the intersection. What happened today in the Court of Common Pleas in Philadelphia and City Hall? What happened in front of Judge Angelo Falliata? Here's what happened. They brought them all in on an emergency hearing after, of course, Elon Musk wasted a week on purpose in order to put this thing so close to the election that any judge in their right mind would find, you know what, I'm not going to make this ruling about whether what happened in the past was an illegal lottery under Pennsylvania law. That was the argument. DA Larry Krasner of Philadelphia used the laws on the books to say, you're running an illegal lottery. You're trying to get, in exchange for confidential information of people, their voter registration and their vote commitment, you're offering to pay them $1 million random. And that's a lottery, and we're going to shut it down under Pennsylvania lottery law. Elon Musk, to waste a week, filed an emergency motion or notice to send it over to federal court. Federal court looked at it, sent it back to state court. And we had the hearing today on an emergency application in front of the judge. All of a sudden, we hear for the first time by the lawyers for Elon Musk, with their backs against the wall, they had to admit that they've been lying to the American people. It wasn't a lottery. It wasn't random. It wasn't like Ed McMahon knocking on your door with a giant check for the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstake. It was all ginned up. It was all cooked. They said, we know who the winner is tomorrow. We already picked it. It's not like bouncing ping pong balls during lottery, which is what they led people to believe. They said it was a sweepstakes. They said it was a chance to win $1 million. That's a lottery. They said, no. We picked people that we thought would be good representatives of MAGA, and we gave them the $1 million. The numbers are eye-popping, by the way. Elon Musk in the last 2 weeks gave away $17 million, 1 million, 17 prizes at 1 million apiece. 17 people became millionaires because Elon Musk wants to try to get Donald Trump elected and try to increase his political fortunes and his bank account. That's what happens. It's amazing. Now, not just in Pennsylvania, in other battleground states as well. In fact, the new winner tomorrow, who they already know who it is, and they told the judge in Pennsylvania, is going to be awarded the $1 million or given the $1 million in exchange for a contract, in exchange for something else, by the way. Taking a page out of his cult leader, Donald Trump, they're having everybody sign non-disclosure agreements, everybody signing NDAs about what they saw to keep them gagged so they don't learn about, how they were picked and why they were picked and all of that, what they're going to do about their voting or anything like that. Bound and gagged, paid $1 million, total grift. And that was the point of the DA Larry Krasner. I think what this judge of common pleas, which is the lower level trial court level in Philadelphia, sort of like Superior Court if you live in a state where that's a thing. Angelo Falliata said, yeah, we're real. You understand you're not going to run this lottery beyond tomorrow, right? And they said, no, judge, we're not. All right, it's not really randomized. They said, no. You sign them to a contract, give them $1 million in return for an NDA and non-disclosure agreement. Yes. Okay. Some of these people aren't winners in Philadelphia. You're awarding it outside of Philadelphia. They said yes. And so there was this kind of air of, I'll give you the doctrine under law, this air of mootness. Because if things are moot, if you go in, for instance, for an injunction, you can't enjoin past conduct that's completed. You can only enjoin future conduct. And if there is no future conduct, in other words, the lottery is going to end tomorrow, one way or the other, and that's what they represented in court, then there's nothing really to enjoin because you can only do injunctions about future conduct, not completed past conduct. And yes, it does mean that Elon Musk will be rewarded for doing the strategy of taking a week of delay to try to take his case to federal court and then have it sent back when it was obvious there were no proper grounds to take the case to federal court. So he is being rewarded for that. Because by the time it got back on the Monday, literally hours before the opening of the polls in Pennsylvania, and with the commitment, the admission of lying to the American people, combined with the calendar and their promise that they would not continue the lottery continue the handout of employment contracts, past tomorrow, that I think got into the room, into the atmosphere, and changed the weather in the room for the judge. I've seen it happen before in cases I've handled, where the judge says on an injunction hearing, which is a very specific vehicle that you're in court on, you got to show 4 major factors, right? Irreparable harm, inadequate remedy of law. You've got to show a likelihood of success on the merits at the final trial in the case, and you've got to show usually the public interest tips in your favor. And if you have those factors, a judge will temporarily stop something. It's called an injunction or a temporary restraining order. It depends on where you're at in your court process in the life cycle of the case. And there's always this fight if you're trying to oppose an injunction type setting like this one that the DA from Philadelphia brought against Elon Musk about, is there future conduct that is left to be enjoined? But if they say, we'll never do it again, Judge. I mean, I know that sounds counterintuitive, like they're being rewarded. They already broke the cookie jar, but if they promise not to break future cookie jars, there's nothing to enjoin. If it's unlikely that they're going to do that, you'd have to, as the movement, the person trying to get the injunction, you'd have to show that not just that there's a propensity to break that cookie jar, but that there are plans to break the cookie jar, an email, a text message, a recording, an audio. You say, Judge, they're going to break that cookie jar again. Here it is, right here. On Tuesday, they're all getting together again at the local Starbucks, and they're breaking into that house, and they're breaking that cookie jar. Unless you enjoin them, stop them. And that's where you have. But if the party agrees, and usually there's an agreed order or something, I'm not going to break any more cookie jars. I have no plans to do it. It was a one-time thing. That's it. Like, my hand got caught in the cookie jar. It's over. And that's sort of what happened, I believe. If I'm speculating as an outsider, but as a practicing attorney in courtrooms like this one, on matters like this one, and I've handled gaming matters, and I've handled lottery matters, and I've handled cases for injunctive relief in courts, I think that's what happened. So the headline is, Court of Common Pleas judge denies injunction. Elon Musk's lottery continues. That's not quite it, as you can see from this hot take. They had to concede that they lied to the American people, and I think we should hold his feet accountable to it. And everything that happened in the Court of Common Pleas, which is a state court proceeding, could come back to bite Elon Musk in the ass for having lied if the feds get involved after the election, because the feds have already put Elon Musk on notice along with his political action committee, the America Political Action Committee for Donald Trump, that they may be illegally, by buying votes and registration, they may be illegally violating a statute specifically that says you can't buy votes, you can't buy voter registration. That's separate from the lottery issue in the Pennsylvania case. So what you have to concede or admit or say aloud in the state court proceeding to avoid an injunction may get you into the, no pun intended, jackpot with the feds, because they'll be like, well, there you go. What are you buying? You're spending, call it what you want. A rose by any other name is a 17 million giveaway. What was it for? And if it's for these two things, votes or voter registration, that's violation. Now, Musk tried to hide it under the cover of, I wasn't buying voter registration. I just want to know that you're committed to the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Sign on this dotted line and that you're a registered voter and you might have a chance to win $1 million. Boy, that sounds a lot like a lottery. But as I said, I think the judges' head got turned because they agreed that it was ending on Tuesday, that there was no more Pennsylvania winners of this employment contract competition, to use their terminology, and therefore the need for this injunction became less and less. Doesn't mean that in the continuation of the case that judge couldn't rule ultimately that the lottery rules were violated, just at this particular moment in time, he's not granting the injunction. And that's sort of what I want to cover on this particular hot take. Look, we cover the stories from beginning to end. We did this from October 28th when DA Krasner filed the initial emergency motion, got signed to the judge in the Court of Common Pleas. 2 days later, when there was a hearing that Elon Musk didn't attend, he filed a notice of removal and ended up in front of another federal judge, this time appointed by Obama. It got sent back 2 days later on Friday back to this Common Pleas judge who set a hearing today, and here we are. That's the life cycle of that injunction hearing process. We cover it all right here on the Midas Touch Network, and more particularly on this channel. Take a look. Look, new logo. Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Help us build something durable and sustainable on the other side of Tuesday. Take a moment, look for that blue subscribe button and hit it. It's free. But it signals to the algorithmic gods that you want us on the air, you want our content, our contributors at the intersection of law and politics, where me, Michael Popok, is the chief curator. So until my next hot take and contribution, either Legal AF, the podcast on the Midas Touch Network, or Legal AF, the YouTube channel, right here where you're at. I'm here. I'm here for you. I'll see you from now, every hour, until Tuesday, and then beyond. Michael Popok reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.